Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Learning Torah Lishma. One of the big questions that people ask is, how do I bring up good kids? How do I do it? You know, people they prefer that a problem shouldn't arise that they have to fix. They would prefer that the problem didn't arise and instead something good happened. You understand? That the child is spiritual, ethical, successful. You understand? That's what they want for the children. Not that you're 3, 5, 10 years getting them off drugs, getting them out of a bad relationship, teaching them how to be able to, years to teaching them how to be able to take care of themselves. People don't want that, so they want the success. The child he's spiritual. You understand? He's successful. He knows how to take care of himself. That's the type of children people want. Of course, any child's a blessing, but they want success. They don't want that child after child. It's hardship. It's so difficult to keep them on the derech. You understand? To get them back on the derech. Everything is so difficult. You know? The question is, what could we do in our upbringing that will cause them to grow up good, as opposed to what's happening in the outside the Orthodox Judaism? It's, in the Goyish world, in the non-Jewish world, it's very bad, and what's happening. Even parents that are, connected to a religion, of course, that changes it a lot. It makes you act in a way that you're doing more the right thing, so there's more success. In Judaism, in the Orthodox Judaism, you're brought up that Hashem has so many commandments that touch every area of life and touch your soul, and it's just spirituality floating around you, that it's there are issues, but the issues there and the issues outside of the frum Jewish world is two different worlds. Of course, I'm a very big advocate that we don't say just because in the Orthodox world it's way better than outside, therefore it's okay what we're doing. No, if there's something wrong, if there's something that could be done better, we have to do that. We have to do that for ourselves, we have to do that for our kids, for our grandkids, for the future of Klal Yisrael. We can't just, be happy when with the little that we have. We want to touch into the full power of God, and that's the Torah that He gave us. Absolutely. How many parents, there's, they're broken. The child at a certain age starts taking drugs, right? Even a simple thing like smoking cigarettes or e-cigarettes. Even a parent, right? Even if the father, usually the father is more, tolerant to a certain extent, He doesn't get hurt so easily. When he sees his kid smoking, you think he's going through rikshay, simcha. He's not going through these great awesome feeling of happiness. He's sad that his son's doing that. And speaking to the Orthodox Jews, right? Because in Orthodox, women don't women don't smoke at all. It's men that you'll find that they're in that party you'll have people that smoke, but women don't smoke at all. So you have a teenage boy that someone comes over to you and wants to say, just try a cigarette, become part of the chaver, become part of the group. You have to know that there are many other things we could talk about, but think about the mitzvah, the great mitzvah that gives you, the great commandment that God says gives you long life, which is kibbud av v'em, honoring your father and mother. When you smoke, you're ruining, right? Moving away from physically how you're hurting your life, health-wise, maybe potentially lifespan. You understand? Putting that aside, even though how could you put it aside, right? The Hashem says that if you honor your father and mother, Hashem says, I bless you with long life. Now, when you smoke and you cause them pain, you lose that blessing. Is it worth it? More than finishing the Masechta that year, you should be focusing on getting rid of the addiction. Spend all the time you need to get rid of that addiction. That's what you should be doing. It's like I don't know. It's like they're trying to stop what's it called from coming in from Mexico. All these drugs, fentanyl. That's what fentanyl, right? This is like in the Jewish community. That's cigarettes. It's like it's a machla. You have one kid that smokes in the school. All of a sudden, by the end of the year, half the school is smoking. You got to make a special school for kids that smoke. It could be a good school. It doesn't have to be a never school. You can be a good school, but you can't put them together with kids that don't smoke. They're like a cancer in the school, a physical cancer, because they cause other people to smoke, and smoking damages. A Rosh Hashiva, Rabbeim, they have to speak at least once a month, maybe once a week, but at least once a month on against smoking. You can't hire Rabbeim that smoke. You could hire them for that school where you put all the smokers, but you can't a Rebbe that smokes. How could the rabbi is where they're learning Elokus, and he's smoking? He is going against the verse Ushmartem Moedes Nafshei Seichem, that you should take extreme vigilance in guarding your nefesh, that it shouldn't leave the body because of how you treat it. You shouldn't hurt your body. And that's what they're doing. They could have the pilpul head, the Ian, that all. But because of them, kids, if one kid because of them starts to smoke, that's already too much. The reality is a lot start to smoke. The rabbi smoking, I could do it too. Can't have them around in a non-smoking yeshiva. You understand? You'd even question in a smoking yeshiva, should you have them, or should they go on a program and get rid of the addiction? I mean, what's today? People are getting rid of addictions. People are fat, becoming skinny. People that are unhealthy are becoming healthy. Today there's a lot to do, and you're just sitting there doing nothing. It's unacceptable. A man of God smoking? Go get some help. It's embarrassing. I don't have to be with other people. This, that. You keep the Jewish law. The Torah says you got to get rid of it. Getting back to more directly what we were discussing, we want to have nachas from the kids, right? We don't want to have agmas nefesh, all this hurt that people have. They give their life for the kids, their money, their everything, and they turn out rotten. Low quality, like China quality, right? Not American quality, China quality. That's what we're getting. What could we do? The Baal Shem Tov teaches. There's a teaching from the Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh, from the Holy Baal Shem. He says, sometimes you could see someone. He doesn't say sometimes. He says, you see someone who's very far away, and you're looking at him. Wow, what an evil person. And it's true. He will stay evil if he doesn't change. But the Baal Shem Tov teaches us something. He says that a midah, right? A person has a midah ra, a bad character. He says in Torah, a midah means a measurement. So he says that this person that at the moment is very evil, unless he changes his ways, we hope he does. But at the moment, he's doing terrible, terrible things. The Baal Shem Tov says, he teaches us that person really has tremendous kaiches, tremendous capabilities in the side of Kedusha, in the side of holiness, in the side of God. And you're going to say, well, if he has those abilities, so why isn't he doing it? What is the Baal Shem Tov teaching us? So the Baal Shem Tov continues that a midah, again, in Judaism means, it refers to character trait, but it also means measurement. And he says that if the midah if you push it to the wrong way, then it exerts its power to the dark side. But if you push it towards the good way, then it exerts its power towards the light. And he says, when you see someone that could do such evil things, that means that his midah, his measurement, was pushed to the dark side. And that's what, so when you see someone with so much ability for Ra, he's so ingenious for Ra, for evil, for not good things, that means because that's what he was taught to use his abilities in a bad way. That's what was pushed upon him. That's the people that he hanged around, and he became one of them. But if he would completely disconnect from these inshi deloy mali, from these people that are not the best people to hang around with, and he would disconnect from them first, and and be around good people and try to get in everything he can, then he will slowly or quickly, because I believe that the good is also very powerful. It's just you have to really want it. You understand? He will change, and you'll see all that kaichas, all that capability that he was using in not a good way, he'll now be using in a good way. This is the teaching of the Baal Shem Tov. And, this is one of the things the Baal Shem Tov and the Hasidic masters, the great Rebbes of old, would do. Even till today, you'll have Rebbes that do it. Trying to remember one of the Rebbes that does it. So, what's his name? It'll come back to me, hopefully, Mr. Hashem. So, Mr. Hashem will come back to me. So, they would work hard to show the person, to get his heart to open, that he should realize what he's doing and how he could use his abilities in a good way, and how he can now be helping people and be a force of good, of pure good, complete good. Not that he's a monster to everybody, but to his wife, he treats her like a diamond. No. He treats his wife well, he treats his kids well, he treats other people well. This is the great teaching of the Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh. Now the sad thing is, once they get older, very hard to change them. But when they're young, there's so much you could do. If you're a parent that really cares for their child, there's some parents, I saw this photo of this, I don't remember, there was this mother that her child, I don't remember, killed someone, and then you see a picture of her and she looks like a demon with all the tattoos, with all the, and then you're wondering, she taught her child to act like that. You understand? Because that's the way she would act if she could. So the first aspect is to realize that it's a midah, that it's how you direct it, where you put it, where it tilts, to the good side, to the bad side. That's how it's going to be experienced. And yes, there are people that naturally tilt towards the good side, and then there are people that naturally tilt more towards the bad side. And you need to, when they're young, to keep on helping them to go on the good side. They need extra help. But isn't it worth it? Because when that child goes to the good side, the power that he'll have, you understand? He'll be using it for good. The Yetzer Hara likes to come after people that are very powerful. He likes to push people to the dark side. There are people, he likes people that have a lot of potential. He likes to go after them. So lots of times you see someone going towards the dark side. If you could save him, he could change the world, There's one of these stories. What's his name? I remember listening when they, when we still listened to tapes. Remember, it was a black tape, and it was two tapes. And then with 2 tapes, you heard the whole story. Absolutely amazing story of a very high neshama, a very high soul. And the Yetzar, the Sitra Achra, the Satan he says, I must have it. And he had an angel coming after the boy. Today you just buy them a Disney prescription, or you just get them involved on internet. You understand, the Yitzhar is an easy job today, but in the olden days the ear was pristine. Evil wasn't, you weren't able to access evil so much. So although they could do terrible evil things, but there was a limit to how much you could do. Today it's like limitless. You understand? All the bad things someone could see. And how the Yetzer Hara came against him, and he gave him a book from the Satan, you have to understand, to ruin his soul. And he told him, if you don't read it, I'm going to kill you. And it's the whole story with one of the great tzaddikim in that generation that basically fought with this angel and saved the child. And he later became one of the great tzaddikim. When he became an adult, then it was too late for the Yetzer Hara to come after him. You understand? For the Satan to come after him. So you need to really focus when they're young. Not to say, if something happens, then I'll deal with it. No, prevent it from happening. You need to really focus when they're young. When they're adults, the goodness will take a grip on them. You understand? But when they're young, very easily they could be pushed to the dark side. And you have to be very careful. There's no reason why children should be having iPhones, should be watching movies. Even if you have a weakness there, there's no reason that you should do it to your kids. And give them other things that they shouldn't just always feel like that they're bored and they want to do what you're doing. Give them other things to do. Buy them chickens, buy them cool types of, get them into working out, and get chickens and different, things that get them involved in the physical world. Today there are these cool skateboards that go like this. Get them physically doing things. You understand? Get them working, all in a legal way, of course, but get them, more on you could say, okay, let's get you a lawnmower. Don't worry, you'll pay me back, and you'll start, you'll start mowing people's lawns, trimming trees, painting houses, learn a little electric, everything, of course, in what's legal and safe according to your country. And this is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. You can't sit on your laurels. You can't be lazy. I once talked to I saw like in a shul, there was this there was already like an old father. What does that mean? A father that he had a children in his, he maximized his ability to have children, him and his wife, and now when they're older, there's a child there that's very young, and they're still raising him, which is so beautiful. It means all the world to the parents. And you understand, the Ben Zekunim, the son that's in the old age of the parents, and how he was learning with him Mishnayos, and he smiled to me and he said, the more you put in, the more you get out. Don't expect anything if you're not putting in. Do expect that the more you put in, the more you get out. Do expect that. But don't expect that without putting in, that you're going to get out. You got to learn with them about God. You got to teach them ethics. You got to teach them how to make a livelihood. Not right before they become adult, from when they're young. From as early as possible, teach them about the things that you know. Teach them how to swim. So much you need to do. So instead of taking that job from 9 to 9, take the job from 9 to 5. Because then you'll have time to spend with kids. Yes, you want to have that extra money, but you'll be able to raise your child. So that's taking the power of the Baal Shem to understand when Chasron, God forbid, we see a child is acting in a very it could be something serious or something not so serious, and we're like, do I have a bad child? You have to know every child is precious. Every child is gold. Your job is to be the the guide, the spiritual guide that they learn how to use their kaichas, their abilities, their midas in the light, in the good way. That's your job. With us doing this Mitzvah Hashem, God willing, we're going to have such amazing kids. It's going to be hard work, but it's going to be enjoyable hard work. It's going to be our kids. One day we die, our kids we live on through our children and our great-grandchildren. And we could have great-grandchildren who are great, you understand? It all depends how what we do now with the kids when they're young. When they're adults, they become strong in wherever they're holding. But in those younger years, you gotta be careful. You can't just go to bad communities and just say, well, I won't be affected. No, you will. Not just you will be affected, your kids will be affected. And your kids will be affected 100%, and you'll be affected, 10, 15, 20%. Don't take chances. Not with yourself, not with your spouse, not with your kids. There's a lot of people, they married a spouse, but this spouse, she sort of, becomes where in the community that she lives, and they didn't move. They decided not to, because of money, whatever it was, not to live in a frum community, and the wife is now not so religious. You understand? You gotta live in a religious place. If you're gonna move out to somewhere, by Hasidim, they'll build a town, and they buy a plot, and everybody buys a house there. The house gets built, and then they move in all together. And now you understand. You have to do things in groups. You can't just be this loner. When it comes to this, I could just be wherever I am, and everything. They're gonna all come out spiritual and great, and everything doesn't work that way. Doesn't work that way. There's X amount they take from you. There's X amount they take from their spouse. There's X amount they take from the neighbors, from their friends, from the school. You understand? And all together, that's what forms them. And you want to make sure that you're in the best scenario. Even though we've talked about in the past of difficulties that are happening, false ideologies that have slipped into Judaism, you understand, that has nothing to do with Judaism. It's a misrepresentation. It's true. And we've talked about how to go about it, right? If you can make your own community, that's from community, great. If you can't, you have to learn how to deal with it. But again, everything in a kind way. Everything, don't become you're the grouch of the town. You're the unpleasant person to be around. You gotta do things tactfully. You have to do things in a smart way. You remind your kids, right? Let's say in the very likely scenario that you have to send your kids to them. You don't have the money for homeschooling. You understand? So you teach the kids from young, once a week. You understand? Once a month, you remind them of the truth and the beauty of the truth. And but at the same time, they shouldn't say anything to their teachers. I'm just thinking, it used to be, today you still have it out, but it used to be that, everybody was watching videos, unless you were a Hasidic group, you understand? Today it's less, you understand, in the Litvish and Sephardi groups. It's much less, but it's still happening today. But everybody knows you just don't talk about it in school, We have to do that when it comes to Kedusha, to holiness. That there are these true ideas of being a balanced person. Kollel is for Rabbi Akiva. You understand? There are these ideas. Teach them how to make a parnasa. You understand? There's all these important things, but you got to keep a low profile with them. Say we teach this to you, but we don't want you sitting and arguing with the teacher. If the teacher says the opposite, don't even just let them talk. Let them say. We don't want you to get into arguments. You understand? This is what we need to. You need to do things in this way. When we talk about it, I always say this: if don't sit and start fighting with everybody. We say this for the people who are searching for truth, that they could have a place to find it, and they could do it. You understand? According to the abilities in the scenario. And hopefully everything's going to go well. You understand? We have to always pray. At the end of the day, you got to pray. And you got to do tremendous action. And action, it isn't, people hear, I have to do all this effort. Effort is life. Doing nothing is death. That's the way you have to look at it. Effort is life. So when someone says you're going to need all this effort, amazing. Because effort is life. So don't be afraid of doing good effort. Again, you tell the kids the truths. And you say, but don't ever argue with your teacher. It's not your place. It's not respectful. It's not your place. I'm your parent. I'm teaching you in these few areas. They have it mistaken. They believe that the Rajbi level is your level. I'm just letting you know it's not. And I'm going to bring you up according to reality. And I'm going to give you balance. But don't you dare say anything to your teachers. Don't say anything to anybody. If you think something should be said to someone, you come to me and you ask me. You ask us, and we Mami and Tati will get together and with you, and we'll decide what should be done. But outside of us, you don't say anything. You have to remember to be respectful. You have to remember that these are kids. It's not good to bring up kids that are arguing with adults. It's not healthy for the child, because the child needs to learn so many things from the adults. If they don't respect them, they won't learn those good things. So in this way, they learn the good things, and the things that they shouldn't be learning from them, you're telling them, and not in a degrading way. You're saying that what they're discussing here is levels of the Baal Shem Tov, of, Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, Rabbi Akiva, but these are people that are angels living in bodies. You understand? That's not us. Should we want to one day reach that? Absolutely. Will we ever reach their levels? Probably not. You understand? Should we, because we're not going to reach their levels, should we not try to understand their level? No, of course you should understand the greatness of the tzaddik, and that's the whole point. Understanding that their greatness, but at the same time understanding my reality. If I try to act like the Rajbi, v'lo also biyade, it hurts you, because that's not your level. You're light years away. You do it in a respectful way, I have an uncle in Eretz Yisrael, a Litvish uncle. I have a lot of Litvish family, and I was buying for one Shabbos, and he, his kids know, which I would go to Afghanistan, I would go to demonstrations in Eretz Yisrael. I'm not against going to demonstrations. I'll go there, but I do it in a proper way. You stand on the side, you protest. You don't have to. You understand? But he told his kids that we do everything, that that they say, that it's that the we do everything that tzaddikim say, but when it comes to going to Afghanistan, that thing we don't do. You understand? It's not, you're just saying that we don't do. When there's a kol kari to go to this Afghana, that we don't do. When there's these letters going out, okay, people should go to this demonstration, to save the girls or save the boys, wherever the scenario is. He told them that he's coming from America, he doesn't, he told his kids that he doesn't, that we don't do. There's nothing wrong with saying something like that. You understand? And for him, that's, he can't have his kids being thrown in jail, and, he can't live that type of life that other people, it doesn't break them when it happens. He can't deal with that. But he does it in a respectful way. He doesn't put down, he doesn't say that the people that are going are wrong. He just says we don't do that. You understand? In this case, you're saying something a bit deeper. You're saying, these levels are for Rabbi Akiva, for Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, but we're lighters from them. I'm going to teach you how to survive and thrive in this world according to our level. You understand? That simple way. He said, but at the same time, don't argue. If Rebbe says something, don't ask questions, don't argue. Just let them, when it comes to this, we do different. Very powerful what we're discussing here. May we have tremendous nachas, tremendous joy from our kids, from ourselves, from our spouse. May we have blessing in our health, in our wealth, and the time to enjoy it with our kids and great-grandkids. I love you, and Hashem loves you more.